Hi, my name is Whitney Bradshaw, and welcome to Notes from the Director's Chair. Before we screen the video I created called Does Anybody Read Anymore?, I wanted to give you a little background on the thesis that helped shape it and how the project came about. My thesis is, at its most basic, about reading. Initially, I had several conversations with my parents who are big readers, and some friends who both were and were not readers. The conversations involved the idea that the current generation of students is not only reading less, but reading less comprehensively. Having established a problem, I looked to technology for my answer. I researched whether computer games, programs, or web applications may be able to help raise the amount of students reading, or at the very minimum, their comprehension abilities. When it came to determining what I wanted for my media project, I think I always knew that I wanted to create a video comprised of interviews. I wanted to get students and parents, educators, librarians' points of views and opinions rather than just a checklist of statistics. From there, I chose a sample group of people that I knew, not knowing whether they were readers or not, but rather knowing their grade level or their job. I wanted to be surprised, and for them to be surprised, producing some of the most honest reactions. I realized how risky this move was, but I ended up getting a fairly varied group of people and opinions, thankfully. Before I say any more, please watch and enjoy what came from the interviews. Does anybody read anymore? I'll see you at the end.
Okay. Do you like to read or not?
Mm-hmm. I do not like to read.
I enjoy reading sometimes. I don't really pleasure read all that much. Every now and then I do, but I wouldn't say that I'm a reader.
I enjoy reading quite a bit. It's part of my everyday life.
I do enjoy reading.
I do enjoy reading when it's something I'm interested in, because if it's not interesting, then I'll just put it down.
I enjoy reading very much.
I do enjoy reading.
I don't like to read because I don't see a point in reading. I'd rather just watch a movie.
Yes, I do enjoy reading very much.
Do you read a lot for school?
The last book I read for school was A Walk to Remember. April? Nice.
The last book I read was The Kite Runner. This is a book I'm supposed to be reading now.
Last book I read for school was, Candide.
Okay.
The last book I read for school was The Republic by Plato, and I read it the end of April.
It was actually last semester I read a book for New Vision. It was like a devotional book.
The last book I read for fun was A Walk to Remember.
Just don't enjoy it.
Okay, let's see. The last book that I just read for fun, I finished up. I reread Left Behind by Tim LaHaye.
I like novels, in particular mystery novels, because I tell them I finished my detailed studies. I don't want to read anything heavy. I just want to read something for entertainment.
The last book I read for fun was a young adult book that I purchased last Saturday. It's called The Fair Godmother.
Right now I am reading an Anne McCaffrey science fiction. I believe it's called First Fall, one of her Perm series. I am also reading a James Doss mystery. Deals with the Ute Indian Reservation out west. And I'm also reading a light mystery called Killer Cuts. A dead-end job mystery, it's called. Nice.
I can't even remember the last book I read for fun. That tells you how much I do it.
I'm reading The Wedding now.
No, I don't choose to read books for fun.
The last book I read for fun was The Cinderella Rules, and I just finished it last week.
The last book I read for fun was The Mists of Avalon.
When?
I'm currently reading it.
I like comic books.
I like to read mysteries. I like romance novels.
Usually like fantasy, like sci-fi fiction, that kind of thing.
If I could read for fun, I like stories about people, mostly non-fiction stories like biographies or something.
My mother did, my father did not read.
I don't really remember if they read to me a kid or not. They probably did.
And sometimes my mom would make up stories and then tell that to us. And Paddington books.
I do remember my parents reading to me as a kid.
My mom read to me as a kid, and I know my grandmother read to me as a kid. I don't really remember my dad reading to me a lot, but I'm sure he probably listened to me read, but...
Yes, they did read to me as a kid.
But when I was little, I kept saying, I can't read. And my mom said, yes, you can. Read this.
I always read to my kids, even before they were born.
I read to my kids starting from when they were babies.
I did read to my kids when they were young.